Hi, I'm Sylvia Villalobos-Worsham. Welcome to Focus Fridays. Today's focus is about turning points. I've had several in my life. I'm sure you've had several in yours. The journey I'm going to take you on today is a journey of spiritual transformation. It's when my spiritual transformation truly began with God. People that know me well know that faith is an enormous part of who I am. And I wanted to take this time to share with you that particular moment where I learned to lean in and trust God. It was April 2012. I had just been admitted to St. Luke's Episcopal Hospital the day before with what I thought was pretty critical condition. Two pulmonary emboli. I had passed through my heart the night before. They were now in my left lung, and I had several pulmonary embolisms. But one thing they caught on the original CT scan was the top of my liver, and it was inflamed. Well, the first thought that goes through my mind, having a medical background and having an entire family of doctors, was I have a tumor in my liver. And I immediately became concerned, so much so that they brought the specialist in to kind of calm me down. They said, you know what, we don't think it's cancer, but just to be safe, we're going to do a scan tomorrow. They made it sound like no big deal. Well, nothing could be further from the truth. You know that something great is about to come. So the very next day, they do the CT scan of the abdomen. And within an hour of getting that scan done, I have 6 doctors show up in my room. When you see that, you know it's bad news. Very bad news. And luckily, I had a support system in the room with me. I had my mother and my boyfriend of 5 months. Because I got to tell you, it's pretty frightening, the next words I heard, which were, Sylvia, we have a problem. We have a very big problem. The critical care pulmonologist who had seen me the day before said, we've already talked to your dad and your brother, both doctors, by the way, and we're all in agreement. We're going to put you on TPA. Here's the situation. You have a massive blood clot. It's in your vena cava. Now, I'm like, vena cava? And they're like, that's the major vein that transports blood to all your major organs. And what's happening is that it's putting pressure on your liver. And if it manages to cut off the blood supply to your liver, you're going to go into acute liver failure and require a transplant. Okay, well, that really complicates things, doesn't it? Because, but this is what we're going to do. So we're going to give you this medicine. It's called TPA. That's a really long name and it's hard to say, so I'm just going to say TPA here. And they start going through the entire list of side effects. And when they get to the words death and hemorrhagic stroke, everything around me stopped. I could still see the doctor talking to me, but my mind went completely blank. Blank. And in that one moment, I envisioned falling into God's arms. Because you know, at that point, there's not much you can do. Science is only going to take you so far, and then there's God. And as they're prepping me to take me to ICU, I'm begging God. I'm begging God to save me. I had just found the man of my dreams. I was happy for the first time in a long time, and I wasn't ready to die. But I did surrender my life to Him, and I did have sufficient faith that He was in control. And I no longer was in control, and I was able to let go of that control. And they started the medication, and I fell asleep because they had given me painkillers and other medications to kind of calm me down. And I was terrified, honestly, of going to sleep. I knew that if I went to sleep, I may not wake up. Or if I woke up, I'd have a stroke and not be able to walk, or I've lost my liver. All these things that were in my mind. Long story short, you know I've survived. The best part of the story comes at the end. This is now Easter Sunday. They don't know if the therapy has worked. If it hasn't worked, they have something a lot more drastic that they need to do to me, which really puts me at an increased risk of death because of everything that's transpired and the condition I'm in. So I'm really praying and hoping that the TPA has worked and that they don't have to go in interventionally to help me out. So in walks a woman from the Catholic diocese at the same time that my boyfriend's coming back from the hotel. And we form a prayer circle and we start saying the Our Father. And in that moment, in that very powerful moment, God makes an entrance into the ICU room. And I feel his love all around me, all around me. And for the first time in my life, I understood what it meant to love God first, to feel love like I've never felt on this earth, and to feel the safest I've ever felt in my life. And I remember knowing in that moment that I was going to be okay. No test could confirm it for me. I already knew. He had already told me, and I had already known. And sure enough, about 30 minutes later, it was confirmed I was okay. But what that lesson and that turning point taught me was to let go, to have enormous faith and belief, and to start a real relationship with God. Because the more I aligned with him, the happier I felt. The more I achieved in my life, because I was completely aligned to the purpose that he had for me on this earth. At the time, I was still working for Pfizer. I was still a sales rep. But in that moment, that very humbling moment where you almost lose your life, where you have a 20% chance of surviving and you actually survive that, it changes you forever. Your mindset about life changes immensely. And I leaned in when others would have probably just kind of gone on their life. I leaned in and I listened and I questioned, why did I survive when others have died with just one pulmonary embolism? That was a miracle. And there's a reason for that miracle. And the testimony is God and God's alone. I am his testimony. But I'm a coach now because I leaned in and I asked the hard questions in reflection. And one morning, after reflecting on some of these questions, I felt a nudge, and I've known these nudges before. I know it's the Holy Spirit in me nudging me towards action. And it was to call a former mentor of mine at the John Maxwell team to get on their team to become a coach. And that's what happened in May of 2017. I got on the phone and immediately made the decision to become a coach and start getting certified. But that turning point was the reason why I'm now a coach. I learned so many things in that turning point. I learned to align with the purpose in my life. I learned to lean into God and to have enormous faith and belief. And I learned that life is so much more than what we're currently doing. And I've seen so many people make the mistake of just work, and put their head down and work some more and forget to enjoy life. Those moments are so critical to teach us those things. So I want you to understand, when you have a turning point in your life, lean in, align to what that purpose is. What are your gifts that you have to offer this world to make it a much better place? I'm Sylvia Villalobos Worsham. Thank you so much for listening to me today on Focus Fridays on Turning Points. Any questions, please reach out to me. I'm here to help you in any way I can. Thank you.